Well, I have Rod Stewart looking over me. That's important to have him in the room. He's kind of a big hero of mine. He was born up the road. And I know probably a lot of people think, I say so it's kind of tacky and kitsch, but I think he's like one of the most kind of admirable rock stars in a way, because he knows he's a rock star and he knows what the expectations are and he lives up to those expectations. And just yesterday, it's quite interesting, he's become a really socialist. He went to a hospital in Britain and paid for everyone's cancer scans, because it's all done on private health now, having these scans. And he went in and he paid for everyone that day to have these scans, so they'd have to pay for themselves. And he's really disgusted about the kind of health service in Britain, the quality of care. So it's quite interesting. So he's become a very kind of folk hero. I mean, he always was, but now it's like an added dimension. So I've always loved him, and I love the music and just loved his persona, his kind of unapologetic persona, which I think is important to have that. If you're going to be a rock star, you need to be unapologetic and you need to play the role to its absolute ultimate sort of end. And he does that. And he always looks amazing as well. I think he's always dressed. He's one of these rock stars, like Bjork, who whatever they wear, or Prince, will look amazing because it's who they are. Even the most ridiculous outfits, it's like, it's actually part of their character. And they make even strange clothes look incredible, or clothes that no one else would wear. They inhabit them perfectly. So they're incapable of looking bad, basically. I think Prince was like that. And Rod is definitely like that, and Bjork's like that. This is by Stewart, a friend of mine. And this is one of the works he made. It's a painting of just a wall near where he lives in the countryside. It's an amazing piece of art. I mean, incredible. It's a print by Hogarth. Marriage à la mode. You know, Hogarth, this great British artist, very much a London artist as well, looking at sort of satires on modern life and politics and class system. So a very important artist for me. This is a photograph of Divine, one of the most influential cultural figures of the late 20th century, I would say. And that's Divine. I don't know where he is at this point. New York City, 1974. I was going to put a picture in my book I've just done of Divine with Grace Jones in Studio 54. And in the end, I had a photograph of Grace Jones, but not the one at Studio 54. Because both those characters together basically sum up culture now, really. They're both 40 years, 50 years ahead of their time. But everything we know almost now of culture is based on these two people. They're the most consequential post-war popular artists almost, I think, between them. They cover everything almost that we're concerned about now. But they were doing this 30, 40 years before anyone else, effectively, I think. I mean, maybe people think that's rubbish, but anyway. And this is a photograph, an amazing photograph of Kraftwerk playing. Ralph Hutter is putting his synthesizer into the audience and letting the audience play the synthesizer. It's just kind of gift, almost this kind of giving a gift. Europe giving a gift to America or something, some kind of cultural exchange is happening there, like very profound cultural exchange, as we know, because Kraftwerk was so influential on American music, dance music and hip hop as well. And electro, especially, more electro more than anything else. So it's just a wonderful photograph. I'll point out this. This is a riot shield, police riot shield, that Jimmy Cauty is a musician and artist. He buys surplus riot equipment and he paints the smiley face on them. And they're actually used in a demonstration to confront the police with police shields, confronting the police, but with smiley faces on. But he's a great artist. I admire him a lot. That's Emanuel Swedenborg, the mystic, philosopher, writer. I did an exhibition about him years and years ago. and that's what he is basically. I mean, it's just a place to put things, you know. That's what it becomes. But yeah, I mean, here, for example, I've got one of the films up because I was looking at it. I can't remember why I was looking at it for some reason. Oh, I was sending it to people. But then, you know, then I'll look at. So at the moment, for example, I'm obsessed with a clip on YouTube, which I use in my film about rave music. But there's a clip of a nightclub, which I use in my film. And I'm just kind of obsessed with the music. It's just this amazing clip of. It begins with the queue outside the club. So you get this incredible view of young people waiting to go into a nightclub. And this is how the film I made about this scene begins, with this queue of hundreds of young people. I mean, some of them are almost children. It's like 7 o'clock in the evening. They're queuing to get into a club. And it's a really famous club. But there's one moment that is kind of obsesses me of like when the music starts and everyone starts dancing, and it's not full. The club isn't full by any means, but there's something really quite heroic about this whole scene and the people. And weirdly, some of the earliest footage shot in Britain in these areas were of people leaving work, because they realized that if you filmed hundreds or thousands of people, they'd all turn up to see themselves on film. So it was like a marketing thing. But this is sort of a similar situation. People waiting to go into a club rather than waiting to go into work or leaving work. So I see there's a sort of definitely a connection. But there's quite an amazing point in the film where it goes from just people going into the club to and they start filming the club itself. And the music is really quite melancholic as well. That's probably why I like it. I mean, this is really the best years of your life, without a doubt.
Was it yours?
I don't know really, but I suspect it was. I think so. If you look at all the comments on YouTube, that's what more or less they say. But I mean, it looks amazing. The club looks incredible. It probably was, to be honest. But that was replicated all over Britain. There's clubs like this playing that music for very young people. And that's part of the film. It's about that national story. So, not quite sure what that was all about. But anyway, so I do watch footage. You know what it's like. You just kind of disappear into something and you just start looking at stuff. And it's nothing to do with ritual sacrifice or anything. It's just a handle. I just like the idea of that being a handle. And that's just, I bought that. Just like it. I'm not superstitious. Not at all. I don't have my art up, that's for sure. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't live with my work. I mean, it's in my head. Why would you have it visually when you're sort of thinking about it all the time? But you can from this window see the Arsenal and the work that I did with them just over there. So it's quite good to be able to see your work from your flat on a building, you know. I'm almost as close as you can live to the stadium without living at it, but it's just a feature of life living on this road in this area. So I don't mind actually. I quite like kind of the atmosphere of it on the whole. Sort of a pain in the arse. If they'd have been playing today, you wouldn't be able to park around here. It would have been quite difficult. But luckily they're not.